Welcome to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I'm your host alongside TFH with the swear word and Control Flirt Delete. How are we both doing today?
Great today. How are you?
I'm excited. Yeah, Viv, how are you? Sorry.
I'm left out.
Oh, no.
I'm doing great. I'm excited after yesterday's this weekend had a lot of exciting games, so I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, it has been a pretty action-packed weekend. Some good back and forth across the board. If you're a VR, I'm telling you, I said at the start of this season, Season 9 has been the best the VRML has been. The games have just been non-stop delivering, and they're so fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think this is gonna be another good fun watch here. We got a diamond gold mashup here. Silent Purge versus Bossfight. The old rivalry continues.
Yeah, it's a pretty hyped EU matchup. One that as NA casters, we don't often get to drop in and spectate, but this is a historic, if you will, rivalry over on the EU side, and one that a lot of votes are in for. Viv, Control Flirt Delete, who are you going for in this matchup?
Oh man, you asked me and I tell you, it's hard for me to pick because what the interesting thing to me here is the lineup actually, which sees Scorpio. Wasn't he on Bossfight and Hoochie as well?
I think so.
Yeah, so I feel like this is gonna be a really interesting game in that term, in that way. So, who am I rooting for? I don't know. I'm rooting for Bazaar.
Well, that does lead us into our pick bans on the day because we do got to get that going. Both squads are in the roster. Todd, what do we got for our pick bans today?
All right, so Bossfight today will be banning Tanker, our favorite ship of all time in Onward, and Snowpeak will be banned by Silent Purge.
Control, how do you feel about that Snowpeak ban? I'm sure there's a little sadness over there.
No, it makes sense. I think that Bossfight really shine on the large maps too. I mean, I think they shine in a lot of different ways, but they're so coordinated. So I don't know if Silent Purge plays Snowpeak often, but if you don't, and you're going against a team that's pretty coordinated on these maps.
Yeah, we saw Snowpeak really go into the hands of water when they went up against 5 Horsemen. They did a great job of having those defensive angles buttoned up, and we hinted at it. Map 1 is going to be Bazaar, and both these squads are ready for the action. We're going to dive right on into round 1 of Map 1.
Yeah, and our first objective is going to be the ice cream truck objective, located conveniently next to a armored vehicle. This objective provides about 2 major camping areas and an open floor plan.
This is actually one of my favorite objectives, actually. I love this one.
It does bring the intensity toward the end of the round because it's located right next to an alleyway, which there's just so much rich, high-intensity action. And speaking of the action, Scorpio's going to kick it off here with some free fire going to Scooby-Doo, and that will land 1 down on Bossfight, but he is resable. Other shots going off on the ice cream truck as Radarhead tries to shut down the push from Scorpio, but he can only just call it out and let his team know that the push will be coming from the south side. Bossfight, on the other hand, are rotating to try to get into position here. Scorpio's going to find Scooby-Doo. And another one bites, or no, he finishes off Scooby-Doo. Another one will bite the dust. Legel's going to try to go for this refrag here onto Scorpio. He will rotate out a little too late, but that's not going to be the end of Scorpio as he moves up a little bit closer with that rotation.
That was some good response from Bossfight. They did a quick rotation back there on the south side. It's great.
Yeah, now the action's kind of coming to a little bit of a slowdown here as Scorpio and Legel are, without probably knowing it, neighbors. But Bossfight here are trying to maneuver their people around here to get the better of this attack here. Sri Lankan will be bringing the shield, the native the US player. I don't know why I said UA. US player will be trying to run callouts, I guess, with how he's loaded out. I'm not seeing a flashlight. Don Patron's able to find Legel in that east market, southeast market area. Yeah.
Just gotta point out the Sri Lankan is.
Yep. Is that? Now, Bossfight are moving in kind of slowly toward the objective. They still have 4 members strong. I'm sorry, Silent Purge are moving into the objective. They are still 4 members strong compared to Bossfight's 3, so they have that 1-man advantage. They could definitely utilize it by pressing the attack, but knowing Bossfight, they're probably going to wait a little bit longer just to make sure that they can get some more picks and be able to secure a much safer objective.
And they're really pushing in, and Highfish is really, he's defending nobody right now. There's no one to challenge him, so he really needs to push it over to the east side.
Yeah, the rotation will be coming out from UC Death. You will see Sri Lankan on that far south side. So there's not really too much you can do about it. Highfish is going to be able to get a double onto Hoochie and Dawn. Now, one of the 2 remaining Silent Purge, Scorpio is going to try to make his push in through sheer suppression. And maybe try to support Sri Lankan in because he has the shield, but Sri Lankan's rotating away now. He's going to try to rotate a little bit closer to Scorpio. Speaking of which, he's able to find Radar Head. UC Death is holding the angle. Scorpio fights. UC Highfish goes in for the kill, but Sri Lankan's able to finish it off. And Silent Purge will take round 1.
Wow. That was great.
Yeah, that was an excellent push from Silent Purge. They kind of bided their time in the shield Scorpio duo. I mean, that rotation at the end was so huge. He tried to push in and challenge Highfish, who ultimately was doing a pretty good job defending from that 2-story. I agree with you, Viv. When he was positioned over there and the push was coming in from the east, it certainly seemed like he needed to rotate, but somehow he grabs 2 kills on the edge of Ice Cream Truck, a really nice peek there. Denies the shield push, and then, I mean, the rotations and Scorpio supporting with that LMG. Just some really good aggressive pushing coming in there from Silent Purge to get him that round win.
Oh yeah, they really got in like all the way.
Yeah.
That was all the way through. And by the way, Sri Lankan is Canadian.
Oh, right. Used to seeing him on the NA side, and so I don't really see borders anymore.
Yes, we're all family.
VR can do that. It brings us all together.
Now that's some shit.
Well, we're gonna go into the second round now. Will Bossfight be able to launch an attack into this objective and be able to get a point or 2 on the board?
They will have mirrored spawns as well.
Yeah. And this could become somewhat helpful to them because then they can kind of emulate what Silent Purge did, maybe bring that aggression as well, but
these are defensive smokes coming out, is that right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're trying to cover the rotation.
Love it.
Which means that they're trying to send people probably into the middle bazaar, but Scorpio is not going to have any of it as he finds Radar Head on that side.
Yeah, and Silent Purge has a near identical defense that Bossfight had.
And Legel's just waiting for Scorpio to peek out here, maybe give him a false sense of security. He knows exactly where Scorpio's at, but Scorpio's not having any of it. He's going to rotate back, but Arc Attack's going to launch a nade, some kind of utility over. It's going to fall short after hitting a power line. And then it all slows down again. Attack's going for a little bit of a rotation around the tank. Legel's still being very cautious about that corner that Scorpio was in before, but I think Scorpio is rotated pretty far back if I'm not mistaken. Push coming out from Legel now. He's going to be the first one to try to make the cross across the street. He's going to be able to do so relatively unimpeded. And the question is, will he do anything to help cover UC Death as he has to make his cross as well?
Yeah, and that's what exactly I was wondering is if they had some sort of plan, if they're getting into position or not, because they are kind of surrounding the OBJ from all around, as opposed to how they were attacked.
Yeah, we did see the surrounding happening from the Silent Purge side previously. But I don't think Bossfight's really going for that this time. They haven't really pushed very far south here. At least not yet. Legel and Architect, however, are very close together right now. The question is, I think Architect has heard him. He's just waiting for him to go peek on him.
I mean, he's in a great flank for UC Death as well. A great passive flank position, so he just has to wait.
He definitely heard UC Death, which might confuse him, might give him some insight as to what his situation here. But Legel has no idea that Architect is just around that corner waiting for him.
Too bad he doesn't have a knife, because then he can, you know.
Oh, that would be amazing. Architect launches the attack, gets shut down by UC Death. We're now into a 3v4 situation. Silent Purge's advantage.
Yeah, that audio definitely threw him off right there. But he did go in for the double.
Yeah, a little bit of an early C4 goes off right on the corner there by the ice cream truck, but it won't find anybody since it is early. And now UC Death and that is Scooby are going to begin making their push up. They are 2 of 3 members remaining. A good spread on Bossfight side.
Looks like it looks like they're getting into position, so they must be getting ready to have a coordinated push.
Yeah, they are going to have to do some pretty risky crosses when this push does come out. Each one of them are going to have to cross a street at some point, and if any of y'all have played Onward before, you know that streets are just very dangerous. Probably one of the most dangerous crosses you can make because they're just so open. He's able to find Scorpio, and now Andrew a 3v3.
Yeah, in their positioning, that was a really good pickup. I was just going to say, if UC Death can get into the blue room across from objective there, he won't have Scorpio to deal with.
Yeah, but 3 members of Silent Purge have to defend an objective now against 3 members of Bossfight. That is how it goes right now. Hoochie's able to find High Fish. And now it is a 2v3 situation. Bossfight's disadvantage. And that effectively shuts down that west side. And so they don't really have to worry about that too much anymore. The push is coming out from Scooby-Doo. He's going to run up under smoke cover. Hoochie's going to find UC Death. It's all up to Scooby now. Hoochie's looking for any kind of peek. He launches a nade into the room, but it won't find anybody. Hoochie's going to come around from the corner and shut down Scooby-Doo, giving Silent Purge a second point.
Silent Purge are looking good. Their communication is on point. You know, they held tight on their angles, and Hoochie coming up big that round. You know, he found some good picks. To find High Fish on that back rotation, if he didn't catch that, then we're talking about that whole surrounding of objective there, and it can get pretty messy. You know, how you react becomes a whole different scenario there. Hoochie then has to watch his backside. He's an easy kill for UC Death. A completely different scenario. So some very key kills by Hoochie on the defense. And Silent Purge is just looking good. They're holding it down so far. But Bossfight aren't really looking like they're not coordinated or anything. They just are having a tough time breaking through Silent Purge right now.
Oh yeah, I mean that was really good on Scooby though, getting that that kill. Yeah. The only thing was Hoochie was in great positioning too.
Yeah, I think if he had thrown that nade a little bit better too, he was trying to get the nade into the room on where Hoochie was, and it just kind of bounced on the corner and got a little bit shallow when it went inside that room. I think if he had thrown it how he wanted, if it had gotten just right, it might have caught Hoochie, and then that's a completely different scenario with Scooby pushing.
Well, we can see some coordination coming in for this one because we've got the west objective now.
We'll have a tank spawn for Silent Purge this time. A very interesting spawn for them indeed, because now they have to run across the entire street while dodging ambush if Bossfight chooses to launch one. Sherlockin will be bringing the shield this time, so we're seeing some interesting plays coming out from him, but we're going to see a 2-2-1 split with Sherlockin being the odd man out going to the far south.
Oh, that makes sense. He's probably going all the way just to give them some intel.
Yeah, he's probably going to go up. He's probably going to go up to that white car that you can see near the objective and just try to be able to call out where enemy positions are and let the other team take care of them for him, rather than try to push the aggression.
Yeah, he can definitely get into that window here all the way in the back to the south and look through the window, which is a common spot. I think they can see.
Yeah, I do think that's what he's going to try to do. It looks like that his movements kind of justify it.
Which is hard because in this market, there's like some nooks that you can definitely hide in. And that
a little bit of shots coming out from UC. I think he saw the shield and he's called it out. That's going to get a lot of attention from Bossfight because they've previously, in the previous rounds, have had some issues taking on the shield.
With him, but I wouldn't think a shield's going to be on his own.
Oh yes, Highfish is in this little nook here that is very, very sneaky.
Yeah, it is a very sneaky little place. That shelf kind of jutting out does provide a lot of cover, and it's really hard to peek that when you also have to worry about the door as you're going around that.
And he's gotten the most kills, I think, on the team, so he's in aggressive positions.
He does know where to position himself and does know how to, pace himself in order to be able to maximize his opportunity. We've seen this happen before. Ark and Dawn are slowly creeping up on his position, though. Will they be able to kind of have the foresight to be able to look behind them and maybe get a pick onto High? Dawn's going to rotate around to the top of the Czar, just hoping to be able to see one. I think he did. There was a laser coming back at him, but he wrote the Bossfight member rotated away.
Over here we have Scorpio and joining Sri Lankan on the south side, so definitely ready to attack from all angles. Yeah,
the shield and buddy system is going to come out here. A bit of a nice smoke launch coming from Sri Lankan's going to actually block up a pretty key pick point. Will block some vision for Bossfight to be able to move in.
We also have Hoochie here going right down the middle.
Architect has completely navigated past Highfish. He went on the stairwell and went above and around.
They're gonna push north.
Highfish is now rotating in order to be able to try to find Ark after finding Dawn. But he's a little lost.
Well, Architect did get past Highfish here, and he's right across from the objective, but I don't think he can cross without seeing Scooby-Doo.
No, the Bossfight defense is heavily centered around objective. There's a lot of key crossing points that are covered. Highfish and Ark will face off, but that will end up in Highfish's victory. He shuts down those two. Hoochie finds Radar. Now we're into a 4v3 situation. 1 minute and 50 left to go here. The push has to come here and now. And Sri Lankan actually rotated back and will join up with the main group here, trying to spot where the rest of the enemies are. He takes some shots from Scooby. We'll just try to force the crossing, maybe force an awkward situation for Bossfight by letting him know that, hey, I'm over here. You have to do something about me.
Yeah.
Fish is now going to challenge the shield Sri Lanka and dives into the blue room. Uchi's able to find Scooby-Doo as well, and now Sri Lanka's on objective. UC Death is pressuring. He'll be able to shut down that cap. Fish will be able to find Hoochie now. Only one member of Silent Purge is left, and Scorpio is able to get one, but he gets shut down by High Fish. Bossfight will get a point on the board.
Incredible.
That was chaotic, to say the least. We were trying to track High Fish in that little mini courtyard. Him and Scooby peeking around corners, looking for each other for a good 30 seconds. All the while, they're trying to push on objective. Pads are out on objective. I mean, chaos across the board. And somehow High Fish manages to rotate accordingly and catch out a rotation that, you know, could have been pretty bad news for Bossfight. If you get that last remaining member tucked into this backside with all the buildings and different sort of options you have for how you want to rotate, it gets pretty dicey. So certainly a pretty key pickup. And I mean, what a chaotic round. Bossfight do get on the board though.
Yeah, I mean, they had a really, really good defense with High Fish because he has not been missing his shots.
Yeah.
He's got 8 on the board right now, so definitely having him in that aggressive position has been paying off for Bossfight. And also, you know, Scorpio, I think, used to be on Bossfight, right? It's like he just knows his team so well, where he's going to turn and where they're going to be. It really says something about you know, playing in teams and just knowing each other really well. Also, less teams in the EU, so.
Yeah, that's true.
They play each other more.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different. The rivalries are a little different in the EU side. I feel like just because they are maybe a little bit more consistent. They get to be played so much more often than we end up seeing rivalries over in the NA. And see how round 4 shakes out as we dive on into the action.
Yeah, we're going to have mirroring spawns for Bossfight this time. They will spawn at the tank. We're going to see a 4-1 split so far. Maybe not. It looks like that they're rejoining to be a 3. Well, whatever. There's a bit more centralization coming from Bossfight this time rather than what we saw Silent Purge make an attempt on this objective 1 round ago.
Yeah, and it looks like Silent Purge is expecting a north push. They're heavy on that side, but they'll probably looking to see if there's anyone that make a rotation because everyone's on the south.
Yeah, Bossfight's definitely setting up here to try to get a kind of a constriction onto objective, being able to surround the points of crossing and then launch maybe a simultaneous attack onto the objective, overwhelm Silent Purge, and maybe get a second point on the board if they are lucky. But Silent Purge have not been keeling over that easy.
Yeah, Hoochie is going completely unchallenged over here on the north, as is Dawn. So, but they can easily pivot here to watch any crosses that Bossfight attempts.
Well, Scooby's going to sound the first shots of the round onto objective, probably blind firing a little bit. Trying to see if he can be able to catch people out through the wood in that mini bazaar. And a drone's going to come out. I believe that is Hoochie with it. Yeah, or no, that's Scooby with it. I'm sorry. The drone can definitely give some really good callouts as to where enemy locations are. Shots are going to go off into the air as people try to shoot down the drone to prevent that intel from coming in. High Fish finds Arc Attack. And Scorpio is able to get a refrag on the ledge. So now into a 4v4 action. High Fish is able to get a pick on to Scorpio.
2 enemies down.
And now Silent Purge only have 3. High Fish has been definitely putting in the work here on Bossfight side.
Oh yeah, with 10 kills.
Oh, it's very nice to be able to get a double digits in a league game. That is an accomplishment. Especially in round 1. nonetheless, we're gonna have 3 rounds of this. This is gonna be some incredible stuff coming through the next 2 rounds that we have, no matter how they go. Bossfight have been putting up a fight.
A boss fight. And Silent Purge is pretty much set up how how boss fight was in their defense.
Yeah, being able to
Towards
put
the end.
one into that west courtyard, guarding the north side, maybe looking more toward the south onto objective. It's a pretty standard defense for this objective. It's kind of hard to have some flexibility on this because there's effectively what 3 capping points, 3 or 4 capping points if you want to include the pallets
Oh,
that you have to have eyes on. We've already gone through half of the round time so far. Only 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining.
catch
push is coming
Lonkins,
out.
though. He's got a good angle here to catch anyone in the back.
Yeah. The smokes are coming out. Bossfight has entered the city block that objective resides on. Poochie might have some company here in just a second if Scooby's able to catch it out through the car. He is looking through the car. I think he sees exactly what's going on. Poochie's able to find Radar Head as he tried to make his push out. Still not able to see Scooby and crew. UC's able to find Hoochie actually. The C4 goes up. Dompatron finds Scooby, and now UC Death is the only one that's on the block. He has one other member supporting him, but he is not across the street just yet. It is High Fish though, and he's been able to carry his own weight, so maybe we'll see some incredible stuff coming off of that. But back over to the mini bazaar. UC is beginning to make his push toward the objective. 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. He doesn't have much time.
Yeah, both Don and Sri Lankan are in really good position to watch any of the crosses. So even UC Death, either way that he would go, he would have to meet Don.
Yeah, UC Death has to be ready for Sri Lankan if he wants to find himself onto objective, but the rotation can come out from Silent Purge. They are positioned that well and that close.
It's a fantastic angle from Sri Lankan here. He's gonna he's gonna catch anyone that
I
going
don't
through
think
that line.
UC is ready for it. They come in the line. Sri Lankan, they square off. Sri Lankan will emerge victorious there. It's all up to High Fish now to get another point for Bossfight. But Silent Purge are looking really good to get a 3rd point. Molotov goes off at the 30-second mark, blocking off that lane.
Good timing.
Yeah, Molotov fire lasts for 30 seconds, so if you go off in the last 30 seconds, they'll block lanes. But that doesn't matter. Dompatron will find High Fish, and Silent Purge will get a 3rd point.
Gotta be pretty frustrating if you're a High Fish right now, right? You're 10-3. You're having like the set of your life, right? You're just absolutely dominating everybody, but you're losing 3-1 on your first map. Like, I wonder if we'll see him to continue leading the kill on his team as we go into the next map. You know, if he can keep up the sort of positive mentality, but his team just is not finding any picks behind him. You know, 0-4 on 2 of those guys on Bossfight right now.
Yeah, and that could be what's going on here. High Fish is finding all the kills. Bossfight aren't finding any other ones. He's not allowing them to have any, so could be a reason why he's gone double digits.
But Silent Purge, I mean, they do look good. You know, that defense was solid. Like you said, their defensive setup, they had all the angles covered, even when it was down to 2.
Yeah, and they are coming off of a really, really hot match. I don't know if you saw the game yesterday that Trip casted, but Silent Purge narrowly, I mean, really just by one round, lost to Rome. But man, both teams playing, they were on fire. So, you know, they're pumped. Their adrenaline's probably running from that.
The EU's looking good this season, despite the Button Cup results. I like it's the whole league, right? I guess everybody's just coming out and starting to really improve. Rome is a squad that has been fun to watch this season. Oh, these two though, Silent Purge and Bossfight, they're always fun to
Yeah.
watch. Hopping into another round.
Yeah, we're gonna go into round 5 this time. No caps have come out just yet, but no matter. Great action nonetheless. Going to have the East Courtyard objective this time. And I do not believe they're going to be using quick spawn. Matter of fact, we're going to see a pretty slow approach coming out from Silent Purge here as they, try to play the standard EU kind of style of play where it's slower, more methodical play style. Little still slow up happening on the round here, but we do have, or Silent Purge has control of Coyote building, which is so important on this objective.
Yeah, Scooby is playing it really low here in the middle. I mean, they're just so patient. I love watching them get these angles.
Yeah, it's interesting when we kind of have two different cultures in League, two different sets of people who play with each other, and then when we we as casters kind of go from side to side, we can see the difference in how these two different cultures play. Me and Xandria just casted Animal House and Blaze, and those rounds were incredibly quick. But now when we go over to the Silent Purge boss fight kind of side, the EU side of things, we're seeing them utilize the full 6 minutes of the round timer.
Well, I actually really like seeing them set up because sometimes it's like a setup that they could have done and executed it faster. But then sometimes they do these certain setups that do take a little bit of time for you to clear out these areas, and then they attack, and then it just sometimes can be just so beautiful.
Well, Hoochie is able to find High Fish, so no more kills for him. Now boss fight are going to have to carry themselves. And the heralding of the arrival of Dawn and Hoochie, very apparent to boss fight. Three minutes and 15 seconds left. We've almost used half of the round time. Some smokes are coming out onto objective. This could be diversionary, or this could be the push.
I mean, those smokes are great for him to kind of push in.
Yeah, they are great pushing smokes. Just the locations on them are able to kind of shut down the visual of an entire lane. And that can allow for either good rotations or just a good push. And now Patron looking through the window into the objective room. Still not able to see anybody. Boss fight have been a little elusive to the standard peeking spots. Scorpio's going to throw some more of his smokes out. And a nade will get thrown out from Sri Lanka, and he has the shield.
Yeah, Legio made a really important rotation, so making sure that they weren't too vulnerable for capping.
Yeah, the push is happening now. We're at the 2 minute mark. And we're going to expect to see some good action here really soon. And boss fight on the other side, they have a good setup coming out.
I was just
They're able
gonna
to
say.
cover everything. Yeah,
If you look at the overhead, their lasers they've got it. The angles.
Scooby-Doo's going to have some company here. Don Patron is checking his corners. He's making a lot of noise, though. I think Scooby knows exactly what's going on. Scooby's able to find Don. All hell breaks loose. Hoochie's able to find Legel, and Architect finds UC Death. Now, a pretty good lane is open onto objective. Scorpio is able to find Scooby. And the elimination will come out before Sri Lanka get his tablet out. but Silent Purge will go up to their 4th point and win the map.
I wonder what the timing was on that. I think they still had like 2 something left on the clock. They still had a lot of time to work with. That was a very nice. That was almost like a combo of styles there between what Viv and what you, Todd, were pointing out. You know, they took their time at the start. They looked for those picks. They waited, but then when they moved, they all moved together, and that collapse happened so fast on that objective. It's an interesting way of utilizing the quick spawn, right? Because you're right there, but you just don't move quite yet. And then when it's time, you pounce. Certainly a nice move from Silent Purge to get themselves map win.
Yeah, and they were definitely in a position to take advantage of the vulnerability of their positioning on Bossfight, because Sri Lankan could have capped if they hadn't killed UC Death on the back end and taking care of whoever was in blue room behind the shield. You can run and shoot the shield, but if that shield is covering the person behind you, they could cap that fast.
Map number 2 is going to be Quarantine. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Quarantine is a great map. It has a lot of variation in the style of layout and cover. You got some areas that are very wide open. You got some areas that are very close together, so you can have kind of that nice mix of having both long range and short range combat. And I do think that is something that Onward is really good at having.
Got the Bossfight's map pick. Their win percentage is about 67% this. Definitely confident. Let's go take a look at the Silent Purge ads on pick. Yeah, 50. I mean, they haven't played it nearly as much. To 1-1, lost 1. So, kind of a bit of a toss-up in terms of how either one of these teams is going to perform, which I do think means we're going to get ourselves a pretty good Quarantine round here.
Yeah, I think Quarantine is one of those maps where if you want to be competitive, you have to practice this map. A lot of top-tier teams will play this map religiously. And so being able to understand what these teams are doing on this map is the perfect way to get yourself into the competitive environment.
And it's apropos as we are all in quarantine right now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, while many major sports are shutting down, we're still chugging on.
Beauty of an online league.
That is the advantage of an online league.
That's the beauty of VR. It brings us all together.
There he goes again. He had a lot of, I don't know, he had cheese in his eggs today for breakfast or something. I'm wondering if they're going to be bringing out any of the big guns for this map. Since it's a large map, there are no restrictions on the M203, right? And
well, speaking of bringing out the big guns, there has been a swap around on Bossfight. Viper will be coming in.
Oh, Viper.
Our fellow caster. And Onward streamer.
Definitely a smart move. Something you want to do if you have a tough time your current roster. Try and throw a little a fresh presence. Viper certainly is a fresh presence. He'll bring the energy Bossfight need. Certainly a smart move from them as we dive into round 1.
Yeah, we're gonna have the south spawn for Bossfight this time. They're gonna have to work all the way across the map in order to be able to get onto the objective. Well, that's probably what they want. They want to be able to kind of spread out and be able to position their troops in such a way that they have good coverage of every angle.
Yeah, immediately Scooby-Doo and Highfish here take over the middle wire on the east side to catch anyone, I think, on the roof.
I can drone out rooftop early then if you want.
Oh, and as I say that, he mentions it.
Yeah, it's amazing when that kind of stuff happens, but that is such a great place to be able to catch out any kind of rooftop push, because when someone's on the rooftop, it's so hard to be able to see someone inside those wire buildings, so you're in a pristine spot to be able to go happy hunting top of the rooftop. Kind of shifting over to the Silent Purge side of the story. We are seeing a relatively generic kind of defense, if not more conservative than usual. We're not seeing anybody on the rooftop. Everyone's kind of behind the objective, but they're all watching lanes to make sure that Bossfight don't really have any room to maneuver inside this very big open area.
Yeah, but I really like Boss Fight's setup here. They're really setting up into position to catch any of these peaks, and then immediately can just say, okay, well they're off the roof. Watch these lanes, because we have whoever here on the plane wing, and then my favorite place, the tank courtyard.
Why is it your favorite place, Viv?
I don't know, just a lot of memories. TFH, you know.
A lot of memories. Yep, I can understand that.
It's just such a good position. Like it's just right dab in the middle of the map. So a lot of the action, no matter what OBJ.
Yeah, it is. It is a big control point. It has plenty of walls in order to be able to offer cover. It's got plenty of objects that also offer cover and great peeking abilities. Like we've seen people look through the fan blades of the Bear engine that is there in order to be able to look onto the rooftop and get picks without getting any kind of response back.
Is that a drone coming out? Because that would be huge, very advantageous right now. They could really pick apart this defense and spread out, watching the lanes that they're not approaching on. Exactly.
Yeah, the drone is definitely given. You can see the lasers coming out as Purge is looking for the drone. It does get shot down. But the way Silent Purge is kind of laid out, that drone probably did see a couple of them.
Well, I mean, as long as it was able to tell them there's no one on the roof, that's probably huge too. So they know how to quietly approach that one.
Yeah, but Silent Purge isn't defending the roof. They're defending the lanes to the roof. So when people think that, oh, I can get onto the roof maybe if I get really lucky, no, you're not. You're going to be shot before you can even think about it.
No, yeah, no, that was the opposite of what I meant. Is like they see the roof is clear, therefore they are watching that entrance.
Yeah. Okay, I get you now. You're still seeing the spread kind of coming out from Bossfight. We're down into the final 2 minutes of the round. The push has to begin coming out now. Some shots will go out from Radar Head onto, I believe that's Sri Lankan.
Oh, Molotov.
Toss a Molotov. This isn't exactly a map that lends itself to Molotovs because there's not really any lanes to shut down with it. iFish, on the other hand, will find Sri Lankan and open up that east side of the objective area.
One in North Alley, one in North Alley. Negative.
Wow,
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo calling them out by name. You gotta love that.
Yeah, the research is definitely coming out here and understanding where each player is going to rotate to. Scorpio's going to find iFish. Maybe the 10 kills are a curse. The smokes will come out from Scooby as he makes his rotation onto the objective. He's using them in order to block off visual lanes for Silent Purge to catch him out on. And it's working very well. Don's going to have another idea, though. He's going to be able to find Scooby shutting down that approach. Now, Bossfight is kind of beginning to drop like flies. Radarhead's going to find Arc, but Arc's going to... It's actually a trade, but Radarhead's going to have the better of that. UC Death is going to rotate around and try to res Radar, I believe. And that is the right move to do. He only has two members alive on his team. And this res is going to be very important because Silent Purge have 3. Well, the numbers are about to be evened up here. Scorpio's able to find Viper, though. Now Radarhead's going to find Hoochie. Scorpio's going to find Radarhead, so it's going to be a trade. UC's going to get that final pick on to Scorpio, now into a 1v1, but Don Patron will be able to finish it off and get the point for Silent Purge.
What a great long-range shot from Don there.
Yeah, that was crazy. He was tucked in that far back north side for that entire round. And honestly, if he wasn't there, I think that's a boss fight win. Him being over there, he prevented a lot of movement over in that crater spawn area. And then to find the picks like he did when he peeked out, stopping Scorpio from pushing up through those smokes. I mean, there's just so many key moments for him on that back north side. He really helped Silent Purge hang on to that one, and obviously found that final kill.
Yeah, we're gonna have this is the second objective we're gonna have, or I'm sorry, the second round we're gonna have on this map. So we're gonna have the same objective. That's what I meant to say. But we might have a different spawn for boss fight.
Yeah, the Molotov, maybe not best on this objective, but useful on the other ones. So hopefully we'll see it used.
You got one as well, right?
Quick between round timer there. Both squads not really taking the time to hash out a strategy, probably because they know exactly what they want to do as fire already rings out for round, what is this? Half 2.
Yeah, we're gonna have a mirroring objective this time, so no new spawn for Silent Purge, but they're gonna work with it anyways. Ark's gonna try to find a pick onto the rooftop, but he's not exactly able to. Boss Fight are just able to duck down in time, but Boss Fight will be using the rooftop for their defense this time.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not very good on the roof. I mean, it's a rough one for me.
It's a hard place to defend from because while there is plenty of radiators to take cover behind, it still is very hard to get picks because everybody's watching it all the time. We're still seeing a pretty similar spread coming out of Silent Purge as Boss Fight did. They got 2 people coming from the east side, one with the shield, that'd be Sri Lankan, as per usual. I think they're getting a little bit more aggressive than Boss Fight has been previous round. Like, we're seeing a lot more, we're seeing them progress the points quicker in a much more timely manner than Boss Fight did previously.
I came over to Sri Lankan and Scorpio. They're giggling. And I was just thinking this is such a difficult cross to make, or this little area right here. So
yeah, this whole lane that they have to cross is just so open. There is a definite lack of cover. It's great that they're bringing the shield for that because that's the only bit of cover that they're gonna have.
Well, yeah, and it can give them really good intel. Clear out this whole like truck area.
I mean, even if it doesn't give intel, that cover is just a huge advantage for Silent Purge to be able to move up onto this objective that's being defended by Boss Fight.
One made it gas. I'm gonna have to just cover Juicy.
Bit of fire coming out from Scooby-Doo on the rooftop there. He's trying to shut down approaches, but that also gives away his position to the likes of people like Hoochie and Ark all the way over in that skeleton building on the east side.
Yeah, Hoochie can... Did he throw out Nate? Oh, there it goes.
Oh, and Nate is coming out in it. Whoa! What an amazing nade. Scooby-Doo will get res at that range. He is lucky to even have that res available to him. But what an amazing nade coming out from Hoochie, using the radiator to guide the nade to a very precise target.
Yeah, a confirmed nade would have been great right then and there.
Yeah, but we're only allowed to take 1 nade at a time per person.
Never, no, absolutely not. You always give it to your best Best
Yeah.
bet.
Well, you can obviously trade him, but you see that we'll find Hoochie as he tries to confirm his what he thought was a kill, but he has been deceived. Bossfight are still 5 strong. Silent Purge has lost 1.
If I die, avenge me.
I love how Scooby and UC Death are watching each other's backs right now. Like, at first I thought they were gonna team kill, but no, that's smart watching those angles for each other. That cross.
Yeah, being able to kind of have that visual sense of secure. Well, the visual coverage, I will say, yes, the visual coverage is so important on the rooftop because you can easily get flanked from people who are just going right below. Since it's a little bit harder to peek out over a ledge in VR.
Shield.
The shield has been called out from Highfish on the rooftop. Highfish is able to find Sri Lankan
Down.
and confirm him as well. Sri Lanka was actually trying to go very far back. It's not a typical shield route, but I think he was just trying to use that in order to make sure that he himself didn't get flanked since he was pretty spaced out from his battle buddy. Scooby's gonna find Dawn Patron. This is quickly
Coming down on me.
falling toward the boss fight side of map winning here. Radar Head's going to square off with Arc.
One down on side of the office, Bruce.
Good job.
Give me
Wow,
syringe
and I was gonna say,
Highfish
and that
is
was
gonna
fast.
get the Highfish is gonna get that last kill on Scorpio, and Boss Fight will get a point on the board.
That's what they needed. You know, they kind of got. They didn't get stomped by any means on Bazaar. They put up some very good rounds, but you know, to lose the map 4-1 is tough. You can't let that sort of momentum start to stack up against you, and so to sort of answer back, keep things tied 1-1. It's exactly what they need. Now they need to try and maybe, I don't know. We haven't seen any real cap attempts come in yet. I'd love to see Boss Fight try and throw a cap attempt out here, try and get up 3-1. I don't know why that is.
Yeah,
I wonder why we haven't seen it.
I think I think it's just the defense has been very
Yeah.
tight. There haven't been any Volk flankers, for example.
Yep.
So, I don't know. But they are attacking like they're coming for that cap.
Yeah, they're all synced up. They're coordinated. They're throwing smokes out. You know, clearly trying to deny vision so that they can get themselves in. Maybe they're just trying to force the rotation so they can find the kills. But either way, we might see some action right away as we hop into this match.
Yeah, now Sri Lankan is going to be covering that inside, so maybe he has a Molotov now.
Smoke cross happens.
Oh.
Highfish is able to find Dawn. Radar is able to find Hoochie. That south attempt is just shut down.
Oh.
Even with the great smokes, just a blind
That's
fire
insane.
will carry it through.
Man, that was a
Beautiful.
firing squad.
That was a firing squad, and it worked
Wow.
precisely like a firing squad. Scorpio was able to find
One dead,
Scooby-Doo
I'm going back.
getting boss fight, or getting Silent Purge a kill on their end.
Speaking of Volk flankers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, boss fight have lost a decent amount of momentum, losing their north side. Now they can push pretty hard on the south side because
I'm
two
thinking
of the
about,
defense were
swinging
not able to get
around.
across there. That is such a huge opportunity to be able to move up and punish Silent Purge.
Yeah, Viper is still looking out, making sure it's completely shut down on the south.
Yeah, a little bit of a stagnation coming out from Boss Fight as they are looking more for the pick at this rate, even though I don't think they know that they have two.
Back to the north.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask if they knew that they confirmed the two bodies. I mean, they're out in the open, so perhaps. But if Viper continues to, check and see that the south is open, they could take out Sri Lankan and cap very quickly.
Yeah, maybe this could be the first objective to see the tablet come through and come into play.
Unfortunately, it looks like they're pushing north, which is where the defense is set up on the Silent Purge.
Yeah, I do not think that at all that they realize that they have managed to get a nice double on the south side and that the south is very squishy at the moment.
One push south, one
Squishy.
north push.
I like that word.
I know.
Yeah. I don't even think the North really knows what they want to do either. They're kind of hesitating as well. They've already burned through almost half the round time.
Shooting someone at something I thought I saw. Alright, come on guys. High push, what's the location?
And now Radarhead is trying to call for
High fish, scoop,
a
someone,
push.
some fucking guys on the
But most of the defense on the Silent Purge side is in that motel. So that cross is going to be very, very hard to cross.
I was trying to see if they had any like last line of defense. Since their south guys went down, if they have any C4, I don't see anything. That's always my fear when people go and stake out the motel.
Yeah, but the motel could be very costly if you are trying to defend. If your guy on objective goes down, in this case it's Sri Lankan,
Exactly.
that could be disastrous for your defense.
Oh,
At least, I don't know. I thought someone's out objective. It's.
I was wondering what he was shooting at here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of weird fire there, kind of not going anywhere. It could be just banter. Oh, it was a drone went out. Yeah, that makes sense. They're trying to find where the defense is. Now's the time for them to realize that no one is defending that south side. It is just Sri Lankan. And Viper might be able to get a nifty little pick if he's careful and open up that objective. I do think that the motel guys know about Viper's whereabouts. We are seeing lasers kind of go toward the south side.
Yeah, and they are all looking that way. None of them seem to be concerned about the north right now. Oh, well, there goes Scorpio. Oh,
Yeah,
the
Viper.
smokes are out.
Smokes are out. 1 minute is remaining in the round. It is now or never for Bossfight to try to go for this lead here. Especially with how vulnerable Silent Purge's defense is. Couple more smokes go out. I believe a nade has gone out toward the direction of Highfish, but it won't catch him out. Highfish is going to square off with one of the motel guys. He's going to be able to find Arc Attack, and now he's running on to objective. He hasn't been caught out now. It's up to him and Sri Lankan to decide who really wins here. He's going tablet out. Sri Lankan's going to get the better of that. Shots going out. They're going to try to go for the refrag on Sri Lankan, but he's going to hide in. Viper now makes his move. Viper's not able to find it. He's able to find Sri Lankan, and he will go down. Silent Purge will be defeated. Bossfight will get a point.
Uh-huh.
Viper celebrating in the flames there. Ended up getting a kill to the enemy team, but sure, it's the least of his concerns as they do manage to secure that round. That didn't seem like a cap attempt. You know, they didn't really look to me like they had cap on their mind. Even though they're pushing objective, they still were just trying to find their kills. At some point, you got to kind of think, you know, you see some players, some teams try and force the cap, right? They know there's one left alive and they try and box that one out. I just haven't seen that a lot, which obviously with spectator view, we have the luxury of being able to see a top-down perspective, so we have a lot better vantage points, you know, what's going to come and what's happening. But yeah, cap's just not really on the menu today, but kills certainly are. Bossfight doing a great job of snagging that round. You know, they, like you said, Viv, right at the start, they went for a spread, or I think that was one of you two they went for a spread, and then they surrounded the objective, just like they had in Bazaar. Then they started to push in on it, and that kind of chaos you know, you use information quickly. It's a good indicator of a good team because you have to be able to react to information quick. You have to see someone's in that hotel room and instantly snap to those shots. HighFish doing a great job there, and they're looking good on this quarantine round right now.
The Bossfight definitely have taken a little bit of a lead for the first time this game. And this is some good news for them. It's kind of good for building that momentum that is just so important in the psyche of an Onward player. But now Silent Purge are kind of beginning to feel the pressure now, and maybe this is their time to bring it back and maybe secure the game on this map. Bit of a split coming out from Silent Purge as they opt for a 2-3, 3 on the north side.
And Viper does make it to the south. Looks like he might be going for a long rotation. Maybe he's going for a Dunes pick.
That opportunity is available to him. The question is whether he feels comfortable enough moving that far away from the objective. It's a major thing if you look on your tablet and you're the last one up.
I was just imagining I was imagining a world where a lonely Viper has to feel comfortable to run out like a madman because he's so gutsy.
I don't think he has to feel comfortable now. He'll do anything.
Yeah.
It's one of Onward's many personalities, and we love him for it. This north side is probably going to have is going to have a peek here as Doppatron finds himself under a little bit of fire from HighFish.
Yeah, they are very stacked on the north. Probably looking to shut it down and then rotate, but looks like they're anticipating that north.
Yeah, I think Silent Purge or Bossfight has definitely biased their defense to the north. And is definitely helping them out here. As most of Silent Purge have biased their offense north.
Well, Silent Purge was just called out by Motel. I think it was Scooby called out somebody over there.
Well, he's got 3 people to call out on that side. HighFish will be able to find Don Patron. The defense is a little locked up. They're probably going to send Sherlockin out to...
I got one more.
A bit of arguing and bickering coming from Sherlockin and Scorpio as to who should go first.
This guy's a better shot for whatever reason.
But now shifting over to mid.
He's in the hills, man.
We do have one of Silent Purge's by the rooftop. That'd probably be a good picking opportunity. But there's also one in Tank Courtyard. It's Architect. And he's trying to check to see where the south guy is. But Viper's already shifted around from where he expects him to be.
There's a shield north. 2 guys north at least. No, I killed 1 north and there's 2 alive north.
Now a little bit of a slow push is coming from Hoochie and crew.
Right now.
As he makes his way up, he's going to have a little bit of turbulence coming at the hotel and the skeleton building.
And HighFish, who's all the way stacked here, although Sri Lankan is aware of his position.
Yeah, I think HighFish is a little occupied with Sri Lankan and the shield. And now Scorpio's going to try to pressure HighFish by just trying to suppress any body part of him that is sticking out. But that won't work. HighFish will hold his cool and be able to get a pick on the Scorpio. Now Sri Lankan's all on his own on the north side. And that's just not what you want to be as a shield guy. Is all alone with no support against a person who has been a very stellar shot the entire game.
We do have Hoochie very close, though, to the motel. So he might get called out.
He's at the tow trucks now. He's looking for picks. UC Death could easily rotate around. He takes shots onto Radar Head, but those won't find purchase. Viper has begun to rotate back. I think he realizes what kind of a situation he's in. Scooby-Doo rotates out of the motel, finds Hoochie. And now might
Oh.
go on a flank of his own. Sri Lanka's able to find high
Down. Take your
fish.
time. He's down.
It's a down,
Find this
so his
fucking
location
canyons down.
will
Don't
be
fucking
called
hang on the
out
side, they're gonna be
in
nervous.
time. But now, because Scooby-Doo knows exactly where Sri Lankan is, he's gonna try to ambush him from the flank.
Yeah, and they know that they can afford to.
The timing just doesn't work out. Sri Lankan's already ready for Scooby-Doo to come in, but the hotel will get that pick, and Bossfight will go up another round.
That defensive lineup was that setup was perfect. You know, they had that north spawn, and the entire defense was set up north. It's almost like one of those a luck scenario. Honestly, sure their defense may have rotated if they had seen some fire from those smokes that they threw on that lane when Viper crossed. Maybe that would have been an indicator for a defensive switch, but. Man, they just set up perfectly up on the north. High Fish completely shutting down any sort of early advance that Silent Purge could put on there. And it just put a pause in everything that they wanted to do. And just a great defensive setup. I mean, Bossfight had everything covered. They perfectly set up for that push.
Oh, you heard it from NightFiree. That was a perfect setup multiple times. And I actually really do agree with you. I think that the rotations were on point, being able to have multiple members in that hotel there, be able to watch for that flank from the shield is coming out. And being able to just kind of collapse on the offense as they grew weaker and weaker, it just really worked out for them.
Well, this is a fun objective, so this maybe the cap now.
Right when they don't need
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Wait, this definitely when you need it.
Yeah,
You
true.
love to go 5, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Points
Yeah,
matter.
that's the
man.
objective of the game. Yeah. This ain't who's lying. The points do matter.
Yeah. You love getting that 5 on a map.
Yeah, the 5 is definitely a nice little flex
Yeah.
to have on the scoreboard, but it doesn't really matter in the end because it is based on who wins the most maps, first and foremost. And Hoochie really wants to win this map as he immediately finds Scooby from the plane nose.
Greater spawn, one down, one managed to cross the center.
He's able to call out the spawn, and that will give Silent Purge a lot of room to be able to adjust how their defense is set up, and be able to maybe catch Bossfight in a little bit more of an awkward place. Radar is looking to get the res onto Scooby, but Scooby's in such a vulnerable place, it might not be able to happen safely.
So, if you hear Scooby, he says, "If you die, I apologize." He's like, "I think you're clear."
Oh my god, where's my body for you? Jesus Christ.
Being able to communicate exactly where people's bodies are when it is a client-side feature, so sometimes what we see is a little different than what the players see.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Hats off to Radar. That was a great res,
That
especially
was
in
a
the
very
line of
risky
fire.
one, yeah. That was
Yeah.
incredibly risky.
Smoke radar.
There was a laser being pointed on that the entire time.
Okay, I'm gonna set up a south cross.
Both teams are back up to 5 men. Still have 4 minutes to go.
With
There's a lot of
Scorpio
setting up to be done.
here, he's in a position to. Oh, and the smokes will alert him to Scooby rounding that corner here.
Yeah, that does give him an idea of which way Bossfight are choosing to attack this objective. Being able to identify that that smoke is within throwing range of any member. And now the smoke is moving. I think that's a huge indicator of where that Bossfight member really is. That is Scooby. Yeah, beware the living smoke. Shoot into it if you can. Viper's going to take some shots onto the objective street, but he won't be able to find any purchase. I think it was more of a precautionary measure coming out from him rather than anything decisive. But if we take a look at the Bossfight defense, they're incredibly spread out.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but it's a really good one because they have the necessary angles, and the shots from Sri Lankan not necessary, I don't think.
Well, they can have the necessary angles, but that doesn't deny the fact that they are getting flanked on the south side, albeit very slowly.
One down.
Yes.
Dompatron's able to find Highfish. That's a huge pick because Highfish has just been on his game on both maps so far. Scorpio is able to find Radar Head. It's going to be a trade actually, and Dompatron's going to be able to get UC Death as well.
There is one still on the side.
Now that south side has been shut down a little bit, but I hope Silent Purge realized that their south side is probably their most vulnerable position right now.
I think I got one.
Yeah,
but
at this
I got two,
point,
but one got revived,
if
I'm pretty
if Scooby can make it across,
It's going to be a very risky cross.
Ooh,
He is
I
being
think
watched by
Hoochie's-
Hoochie.
yeah, I was watching.
Yeah.
sure. One ambulance courtyard.
Going for that confirm onto an already dead body, but now he has to worry about the bigger threat, which is that he has multiple lasers pointing right at him. He's he's trying to loot his friend's body, having a little bit of a hard time with that, but he is successful in that. I think he's got himself a drum bag now, so that's gonna be helpful. But he looks like he's gonna go. Ooh. And it's not the way you want to go. There's already a laser right on him, but it does not line up. I think there's a bit of hesitation.
You're quite far. You're quite far.
He's directing the push. There's only 2 people to direct, so he's really only managing one person. Viper's able to find Hoochie,
Great direction.
and that makes, yeah, it is great direction. That makes Scooby's job a lot easier. There are the spread out boss fight defense is working, given the fact that, or I'm sorry, the spread out Silent Purge defense is working, given the fact that boss fight have been brought down to 1 now as Scooby gets taken out. Bit of a nade coming out from the defense here, trying to shut down any lane that they possibly can, but Viper's getting incredibly close. He's able to find Architect with that 203 nade, but he
I was
does
gonna
get
say,
shut down by Dom Patron.
You'd be the first one to do it. That was great.
It's always a Viper move to use that special utility.
Oh, weird push from Silent Purge. They had that south side. I guess not weird, just got shut down. Scorpio doing such a good job of holding that wall and then finding that kill on that initial cross. If they had 2 or 3 over on that south side ambulance, I think their push is going to look a lot different. Obviously, they're going to converge on that objective and make things pretty tough for Silent Purge to react accordingly. But yeah, that spread defensive style paid off. They caught one out over on the west, 2 out actually over on that far west side. And I mean, just to get these advances early before they get into position to pounce, I think that's what sort of saved Silent Purge there. And now Bossfight have to defend. I mean, what is a capable objective? So you got to wonder if Silent Purge are thinking series win, map win here. Let's try and get a cap.
Yeah, if they really do want that, the cap is available to them. But we really haven't seen too much capping attempts. Well, albeit Silent Purge has been the one to make the capping attempts, namely Sri Lankan. Kind of has a bit more of that NA mentality. You've been getting aggressive, going all in or all out. And he's been very close on it. He just hasn't been able to get all 7 digits in time before getting shot himself.
I like that mentality. Is that yours too, TFH?
Well, I'm on Fury, so it has to be.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's almost really, I think a good way of putting it is it's 2 different metas. that have developed over the course of NA and E history in the league. And it's kind of odd to see, right? Like, you don't really see different metas in a esport. Kind of everyone goes the same style, but I don't know. I think it's just maybe how Onward caters to that ability to play how you want to play.
Yeah, I think it's that, also the fact that, you know, how VRML is set up, where we have, you know, we have the EU people playing with EU people and the NA people playing with NA people. And at one point, we even had the Pacific people playing with Pacific people. And all three of them had their own different metas. Now, the Pacific is kind of merged into both, but we definitely see that difference in the EU and the NA metas, kind of the fast play and the slow play, as we like to call it.
I think we did do an EU matchup, that button cup matchup, where EU was just playing it super fast. So we're not to pigeonhole all EU teams and saying that they're all they prefer this sort of methodical play style, but yeah, we've certainly seen both metas get adopted on both sides, right? Global G-men kind of like to play things slower these days. Some teams have sort of adopted the methodical style in NA, and some EU squads do play it a bit quicker.
And you were talking about how an EU team kind of adopted an NA mentality. That was beginners against Globochem. So they were showing us pretty well that, you know, the EU can play like NA if they chose to. They just choose to play it slower.
I really think it was the update that added all of the extra elements into the map. I think that really, really slowed down all teams, because one of the top teams, they even ran out of time on the Suburbia.
Oh.
So, I mean, I think
That's a
everyone's
hard map
playing.
to run out of time on.
Exactly.
You have to try to do that. You give a monkey a controller, he'll wander onto objective before that timer is out. We are seeing a good spread coming out from Bossfight here. They really want this map win to stay into this series here. Silent Purge has been playing a little bit slower than usual, I say, from a Silent Purge perspective. They've been more on the aggressive side of things this entire matchup. But not anymore, as Scorpio dumps an entire mag into a peeking hole onto the burning building, but he won't be able to find anyone for that.
Oh, great here. Ark is having a Sri Lankan cover up the Jersey barriers. That's a good place. Because they've already called out wire here.
Yeah, Silent Purge has definitely been catering to the shield play and strategizing around it as almost as if it was like one of their core players. But Sri Lankan's a newer pickup. This is a remarkable change for having a new member to the team and being able to kind of cater to his playstyle. More firing coming out from Architect. He thinks he sees one, but it won't be able to land. Sri Lankan is priming a nade. I wonder where he's going to throw it to. One lands near him, but nowhere near. Put out a smoke. A bit of a smoking action coming out here. This could signal the Silent Purge push, and it would be in time. There are 2 minutes remaining on this objective, and there's still a pretty decent spread and coverage that needs to be covered till we can get onto objective for them.
I mean, this is the time to take advantage of those smokes and get over there, because they've already identified the middle wire building here. So if they're going to cover it, I would say push it now.
Yeah, Sri Lankan's making his cross now. He's going to use those smokes to his fullest advantage, being able to kind of cover himself visually while holding that shield up. A nade will take him down, though. And Viper's going to be able to find... That nade was from Viper. Hype is able to find one for himself. And Sri Lankan accidentally nades himself as he was holding one when he went down. So that's the end of that story. Silent Purge down to 2. Bossfight still up at 5. This is looking really good for Bossfight. And it looks even better as Highfish is able to find Scorpio. Only one member of Silent Purge remains, and that is Architect. He is getting dangerously close to this objective. There is one person watching around this corner that he is watching right now. It's going to be UC Death. Will UC be able to catch him out at just the right time?
Yeah, this is that position of UC Death. Sometimes people just forget to peek that one, even though it's common.
We see many players play that position a little differently. We see him kind of play on the opposite side of where UC Death is, close, or where UC Death is. It's a very confusing little position, but it's very nifty. Ark is taking his time. He's already heard those beeps going into his headset signaling 30 seconds here. It is 19 seconds left in the game. He's making his approach. UC Death will shut it down, and Bossfight will stay in the game.
Kind of this spread defense on that objective seems to be actually a pretty solid way of holding for a variety of pushes, right? Because Silent Purge there, they had a similar idea to Bossfight on that push on Marsoc. They wanted to surround objective. They wanted to get some over on the west side. They wanted to have one come in through the north. They wanted to control the burning building, and they couldn't get any of it. They were denied burning building. They were denied the north entry point, and west got shut down by 2 stacked over there. So just a solid defensive setup there from Bossfight, and now we go to a series decider map 3.
And I think that's the best way to have a map 3.
Yeah.
And just pointing out that Highfish is at 9, so that's 19 points for the whole game. That's great.
Can someone put a cap on him? Like, tell him to chill out. You don't have to try that hard. We get it. You're good.
You know, we saw this just the other day, right? In the matchup that we all casted, where who was the shield user?
Kija.
Yeah, it's sort of a similar team dynamic if you think about it, right? You have one outstanding player finding all the kills and a supporting a cast, if you will, of players that help and reinforce that one solo player that just dominates the field. You know, as soon as you saw Highfish die, it was kind of like, oh no, what's Bossfight gonna do now, right? But yeah, as long as he was alive, it kind of there was a spark of hope for that squad.
Yeah, I also think that subbing in Viper was really good because he and Radar, they play, you know, they're a good duo.
Yeah, it's kind of
whether
like,
in casting or in play.
Yeah, it's
in
kind of
real
like
life.
the Woods brothers.
Duo.
You know, the Woods or the Thunder and Otto brothers. They have that sort of camaraderie and brother dynamic to it. I think they live close. I know they hang out in real life, and so they have that sort of relationship, and yeah, it carries over, right? You end up just having better communication and you play well together.
There's also the Bowden trio on SEAL Team Bravo right now.
Yeah, we have a weird trend. We need some sisters in here now too. We need to find that dynamic.
I mean, I think we just need to get more girls into the game first, and then we can worry about that.
Sure.
Well, we have 6, I think, in the league, so that's great.
Yeah, no, definitely really cool to kind of see, you know, esports being a open world for all. We don't really see like what's the word?
Female athlete.
Well, not so much that, but co-ed sports, I want to say.
Yeah, that's true too.
There's not too many sports out there where a sport is co-ed. It's usually like men's or women's, but esports is great because it's the great unifier of all.
Yeah, I think they just announced the very first female Overwatch competitive player too. So, yeah.
I know League of Legends had a team for a while that was all female. Well, similar to the Coletto's vibe, if you will. But at one point, not anymore. But yeah, it's great to have such a open atmosphere for good players to come in. You know, the women of Onward are so
feisty, sassy, awesome.
Awesome. They love to bring in any woman, any girl that ever tries to play Onward. They're instantly brought into that group, right? They're so welcomed, and I just feel like it's a really good, it's a good community. The welcome, you know, it's nice to have within the Onward group.
And not just actually in Onward, we actually have them in VRML because we have, I think, 2 that play Pavlov. One of them being Captain. She works with me on the Hive and V Respawn. So she's on a really good team.
I'm pretty sure there's some Echo Arena female players as well.
So, there are.
It's across the board. Certainly not just within the Onward. Definitely right. It's a VRML.
VRML is welcoming all across.
And that's the beauty of VR, everybody. Is that
Third slice of cheese for the day. Courtesy of
I'm
NightFiree.
gonna make sure Dak in. That, like, whenever NightFire casts, sometimes there's little taglines associated for all of us. Whenever NightFire casts, he's gonna say, and that's the beauty of VR.
Gotta cheese it up right as we hop into map 3, the series decider.
Well, speaking of series decider and cheese, we're gonna start off with a quick spawn. Coming from Silent Purge here, Sri Lanka's gonna utilize the shield to be able to try to identify where the defending points on Bossfight are. This is gonna be a really quick round. For a downfall round, there's already a lot of aggression coming out.
Yeah, Bossfight pushing it up to middle here. And Sri Lankan is scary on downfall with a shield. I'm just saying. He's I have PTSD. He's really good on it.
Yeah, Sri Lankan's definitely one of the better shield players in Onward. He's been rocking it probably before a lot of people have even taken up, including myself. Radarhead's going to be able to find a pick onto Scorpio. A nice, good way to start off map 3, a series decider. Play will slow up just a little bit as Silent Purge debate on how they want to be able to take this middle hotel. A nade will go out. It doesn't have just enough juice, but this refrag, it rolls just a little too far, and Scooby-Doo will be able to tell that tale another day.
Grenade on that rooftop arc, is it, boy?
Ain't got one, mate.
Yeah, that grenade would have banged him. Yeah, that grenade banged him. There might be another one.
Still being held up just because of the fact that Bossfight have that middle hotel. Silent Purge are caught in a tight place.
Yeah, Sri Lankan's calling out Radar Head here.
Yeah, and Radar Head, I think he realized that was going on, so he was originally trying to get really aggressive with Ark and Hoochie, but having Sri Lankan there to be able to kind of, as Overwatch, is definitely helping out Silent Purge and making sure that they don't get flanked from a really weird angle.
Really quickly at Sri Lankan, look at how he's positioned that shield because he knows he has a 3-story he has to worry about.
Yeah, he's definitely getting down a little bit lower. The only issue is that his head is peeking through the shield, and that makes him extremely vulnerable. It's something that a shield player has to be very conscious about, is the fact that when you play the shield, you have to realize that you aren't playing yourself in VR. You are commanding a puppet. And whatever that puppet does can be vulnerable if he faces through the shield with his head or his leg or his arm or whatnot.
That's very enlightening, TFH. Puppets.
Puppets. We are puppet masters.
Puppet Master League, exactly.
There we go, yeah. We should change the name and everything.
Well, Sri Lankan was giving really good call-outs. It was unfortunate that his team couldn't capitalize on that, taking out Radar. I'm not sure if he sees Scooby either. Oh, no, and now Sri Lankan has been called out.
Yeah, Sri Lankan's definitely called out the shield by now. Sri Lankan launches a nade onto the objective, but there is no follow-up push to follow that. More smoke's coming out here as we are just past the 3-minute mark.
Scooby throwing it back. Good choice. That should alert them, though, that he's on the roof, too. Because I think they only called out one person.
Yeah, I think they had a false sense of confidence when they threw the nade up there.
Alright, the flank is coming out from Radar Head. Viper's able to find Don, and Scooby's able to find Sri Lankan. That opens up Radar Head's movement so much. So you can see he was trying to get a little out there before, but he couldn't because the shield was calling him out and giving Ark and Gucci plenty of intel on how to take him down.
Hoochie giving away his position to Radar here.
I think Radar is more focused on guarding that doorway, if anything, because he knows that Hoochie has to clear that out before he can even think about getting to the objective. Only 1:45 remaining here. Hoochie's got to make up his mind on what he wants to do here and now. They might just try to just ignore the middle hotel and just go straight to the objective.
Now, that is
sheer
a
will.
good placement, too. Oh.
Hoochie's able to find Radar Head. but Bossfight still have 4 members strong here. This is going to be a very difficult approach. C4 goes off a little too late.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Radar just got a little antsy sitting in there, knowing that they still have good defense up.
Antsiness is definitely a factor in these very long rounds. If you got a player that likes to play more aggressively, he's going to start moving around on objective because he wants to get in on that action. But against teams like these that like to hold angles and wait for players who are exactly like that, it's just not going to work. Scooby-Doo and Ark are going to get in a little bit of a firefight. UC Death's going to find Hoochie on a long shot.
I think I got him. He's by the car.
That was a great one.
Oh yeah, that came from the East
The upper
Dumpster
one.
building.
Yeah. Because you could have given that call out to Scooby, but that was good.
Yeah, that slow movement definitely gave away Hoochie's position.
go, go,
He
go.
was
Yeah, I'll
not
take it.
expecting a member inside that dark room.
Oh, Arc attack is giving callouts to
Well, the
his
timer's
fallen
gonna
comrade.
come into play here. Probably, we only have 15 seconds left. It's probably too late for a cap. Ark has to just make a beeline for the objective here. I think I'm gonna call for Bossfight already. He's only got 5 seconds left. He's close, but not close enough. He's gonna try to go for Ludgel. That won't work. Bossfight will win off the kill.
Kind of, Sri Lankan was in such a good spot early, right? He had that
He
shield
was, yeah.
over on that far side. He could have been applying some serious pressure to the backside of that objective. He could have really forced the 2 that were in that 3-story hotel to look back towards objective, open up some opportunities for Ark and Hoochie to push out of that wall they were trapped behind. There just was some other options that didn't really come to fruition for the Silent Purge team. But it wasn't a bad play. You know, they had some good moves in mind. They just couldn't really execute them. Bossfight just had a good hold. The peeking on the roof was so huge. Just the pop up, pop down, get info, throw nades, throw C4. It shut him down.
Yeah, I think that Sri Lanka was really counting on his teammates to push through as he was giving the callouts, and it just wasn't meeting because he was giving some good intel in that middle house. They just needed to capitalize on it.
Being able to kind of hold that middle hotel rooftop is just such a huge roadblock for Silent Purge there that round. It effectively put the timer into play and forced Architect to make moves that he probably just was not comfortable with.
Yeah, and you know what? Because this objective is a very easy one to cap. Very easy. It's an easy one to cap because there's so many sneaky spots.
Yeah, there's like effectively 3 spots you can cap on this particular objective, and that makes it a nightmare to defend, especially on a map like Downfall where the rotations are next to impossible, especially if your opposing team is very strong and watching those angles where those rotations have to happen.
Just one of those extra angles is that south entry where you get inside the underground. And with this spawn,
Oh, yeah.
Bossfight are going to be looking for that.
Yeah, I think they're already moving that way to secure the valley.
And they're gonna meet Don
Dawn.
Patron here.
Yeah, they're worried more about that white tower. Don's not even looking for that push. I think he thought he was coming from quick spawn.
Yeah.
Scorpio tried to get that refrag, but Radar was just too good for him. And now Bossfight have easy entry into the Silent Purge backside.
Yeah, Bossfight. I don't think that they have a shield player, right, or a designated one, because that would be really good to push the south here.
Well, we have seen Viper before played
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
shield, but playing a shield on Downfall is not easy, and you're going to want to do that only if you're feeling 100% confident in what your game plan on it is and what you plan to do. And when
Yeah,
I
or-
talk about that, I'm talking about, like, am I going to be more aggressive? Am I going to try to be more like a player? Or am I going to try to run intel and be with callouts? And typically on Downfall, you're going to want to run callouts.
Unless you're the man, okay? You can't just
yeah.
shield Downfall guys, okay?
Shields anyone.
Well, we hear the drone coming out. I don't really see it. Those birds are noisy.
We will have one member of Bossfight, Viper himself, who's going to be up on that top, or that south mountain.
So Scooby is doing the drone, and he's able to give call outs. Identify at least one of them.
No kills have happened yet since the first two in the beginning of the round, but Silent Purge are in a much tighter defense than what they probably want to be. Hoochie's able to find radar ahead, and that begins to even it up for Silent. Kind of shifting gears here. We're going to focus a little bit more on the north side and see what they're up to. We have Ledgel and Scooby. And they're going to start making their approaches to the objective very soon here. 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. They have a little bit of time to spare, especially with the demise of the south side. Definitely allows for them to make some pretty easy rotations, knowing that that white tower is in friendly hands. A little bit of smoke coming out here. I think that's mainly just to prevent Hoochie from being able to rotate, and UC will be able to tag out Hoochie on that. Now Silent Purge have only got 2 members to defend a 3-point objective. And going to stretch the defense out a little bit more than they're comfortable with. But UC looks like he's looking more for the picks than for the cap.
Well, it looks like a distraction because Arc Attack here is ooh, Scooby is right on OBJ, and
Scooby has to take out Arc Attack unless he's trying to be really sneaky.
There he goes. He is. He's gonna cap.
Yeah, he's on objective. Arc Attack isn't doing anything. Scooby is about to be in objective range. He has to go a little bit beyond that wall, I do believe, but no, he's typing it anyways. I guess he's there. Silent Purge will not be able to defend the uplink. Bossfight will go up 3 points, and this is quickly going toward Bossfight.
Well, yeah, that definitely when you hear those tap 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 of the suppressive fire, it's like run, run out and check.
That is definitely an indicator. It's not something that ever happens outside of a cap, right? You never just get tapped like methodically to try and be completely held down, because you have finite ammo in this game. You can't afford to really expend a full clip unless it's providing value. And
yeah, and that's that spot right there. I mean, I think maybe because Arc threw out a nade and it gave him a little bit of a, like he felt like he cleared it, perhaps.
A false sense of confidence on that coverage. But the overall push was so well done by Bossfight. You know, they utilized that spawn perfectly, and Silent Purge forgot about this spawn. Literally, they forgot about it. You know, 2 of their defenders pushing into that ravine, completely oblivious to the fact that you can be right there as Marsoc if you get the old Marsoc spawn up there. And yeah, they had the overwatch from Viper. He was doing a great job suppressing, keeping those guys tucked into their defensive positions. They did a great job of approaching it from the north side. They kept their north push tight. They didn't rotate all the way around north, which is what you usually see, right? That long north rotation to come all the way around to the west. But they just went right up the middle, and they got the cap.
Yeah, being able to master your suppressive fire, mastering the communications, and mastering the rotations is what led up to that. Especially for a team as good and as experienced as Silent Purge, that is no easy feat.
Yeah, now we're going to this next round. They're on Marsoc down 3-0. They have to win this Marsoc round, and Marsoc round wins on downfall. I don't know, I guess it's an argument to be made, right? Are they easier or harder? I think some folks would say it's easier to get Marsoc win.
I mean, back in the day, it used to always be any map, Volk had an advantage, but now they've changed up the game so much, that is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I think people do say like it's the attacking is like so out in the open, susceptible to, I think, passive flanks. But yeah, it's depending on the objective, really. Like we said, that bottom of dumpster objective is very easy to cap on.
I believe there's an enemy in South Guard.
And we're going to see a pretty similar push coming out of Silent Purge, except this time they're going to have one more member going up north. This is the first time this objective is being played, but they did have a similar spawn to the last objective. The Wonders of Onward spawns.
They are going to have to deal with Don Patron over here. He is moving on the north side, and there's not that much coverage aside from radar here. But he has to watch so many angles. Yeah, Don can push up to Red Truck and then down without being seen.
Yeah, Red Truck would definitely be his next move, if not North Hotel. And being able to kind of control either of those places, Red Truck or North Hotel specifically, would allow for the South push to have a lot more access to the objective, because a bunch of manpower will have to be devoted to making sure that he stays suppressed or taken out. A lot of micromanaging coming out
Yeah,
on Scorpios and Sri Lankan side. It's interesting to listen to. Looking more at the defense now, it looks like Bossfight have opted for a very tight defense. Kind of everyone being within visual range of the objective. And facilitating those rotations if needed be.
Shut the fuck up. We are all alive, guys. We are all alive. South bungalow firing at me.
Not too much movement coming on either side, but that's typical for this game so far. We don't really see too much movement coming out before the 3-minute mark. After that, we kind of see some smokes come out and facilitate that push.
Wow. I'm just listening to Sri Lankan here. He's so knowledgeable, saying like, okay, forget that. There's a hitbox there. So
Yeah, Sri Lankan's been
really good
playing
direction.
competitively since I think season 4 or 5. So he's definitely becoming like one of the older goats in league play. And that knowledge is so helpful, being able to kind of realize like, oh, this is where the meta's shifting. This is an old school meta.
Yeah, and I
Or,
also
like,
I
old
think
school
he
position.
plays on the Rift S too. So it's he's
Definitely facilitates the shield better than a normal gun.
yeah, he's
You don't have that tracking blocking issue that is commonly associated with the Rift S. I thought he got an index though, but I don't know. He might have been wanting to.
I haven't checked everyone's inventory lately. I should do that.
Stay on top of that. That's your job.
I know.
Different headsets out. You don't know what everybody's on. Come on.
Almost. Which I also think really shifted the gameplay too, just because
Yeah,
of
the
you know.
hardware aspect. Something
Yeah.
that isn't so talked about on cast, but it is definitely a factor. Being able to kind of see across maps like this where the range is...
Oh yeah, absolutely. You definitely get
Anyone
such
running one
advantage.
of those old school CV1s or the OG Vives are going to have to look for a single pixel, but when you're on something like a Pimax or an Index, you can see that that is a human being and maybe be able to tell what color it is, and less likely to team kill if you have a flanker.
I think in the limited landscape of VR, though, it's good to have all headsets be able to play in the league, and you get varying play style. It's like Sri Lankan pushing up with his shield.
Well, Radar able to
Yeah.
give out call-outs even though he's been downed.
Sri Lankan's getting very aggressive with the shield. The shots from Legel go under the car and take out Sri Lanka. What a great shot.
Broken wall, skip down. How's the shield? How's the shield?
Dude is actually able to find Scorpio. In the meantime, their Silent Purge have been reduced to Arc Attack. And Bossfight are going to secure it like that from shots from Legel.
Celebratory C4.
That
I
will
think
be
that's a
the
given.
Bossfight Series W in a pretty commanding fashion. They come out Guns blazing on map 3 on Downfall. They do not let anything go here. That's an interesting thought, too. That was Silent Purge's map pick, right?
There was a lot of things that were supposed to
believe
shift
so.
towards Silent Purge, and I'm going to mention this because we're pushing this a lot, but the Connoisseur's pick heavily going toward the Silent Purge side there. So definitely a great upset on the side of Bossfight.
That was, yeah, I mean, because they did so well yesterday, I think, on Downfall. I can't remember if they won, but the interesting thing about this game, Bossfight winning does even them up because they've played each other 11 times. This makes it 12, so I think they each have 6 wins against each other.
Wow.
Weird, yeah.
That's a lot of time played against one team. Yeah, you think about that's roughly almost 24 hours worth of game time put in against playing just Silent Purge or just Bossfight. Why we get such a good series whenever they face off like we did today.
Yeah. It definitely has been a really tight series, being able to come back from what was a map 1 loss
Yeah.
and just be dominating the next 2 maps. That is just a boss fight thing to do, especially bringing Viper in. He is definitely a player in all this.
Oh yeah. I'm sure he'll vouch that he was the sole reason Bossfight managed to get those last 2 map wins.
I mean,
But he might have
I
been.
yeah, maybe. We didn't see Highfish in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. We can't just leave and not mention how awesome Highfish has been all day.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Viper will tell you. If you ask Viper,
Viper
why
will
they
tell
won,
you.
he'll
Yeah,
tell you
yeah.
it was because he
Definitely.
got brought in.
Completely on
but
board.
but yeah, Highfish doing fantastic for that squad. I mean, wow, great series. I don't know what else to say. You have any final thoughts, Todd and Viv?
Not really. I think we've illustrated it very well. Bossfight definitely kicked it into gear in map 2 and 3, and just showed Silent Purge how it's really done.
Well, and it was not a terribly long one. It was just action packed. They were ready to go. So I think that they all played well. I think they did the rotating out the players at the right time for boss fight. It was a great game all the way to the 3rd map. That's the way we like to see it. There was some, fast plays after some slow methodical plays and well thought out ones.
Yeah.
And they did go for the cap, like we said, like it doesn't look like they're going for caps, but they did give us a cap out there. So definitely good work for all of us to watch. Not too many uses of the new weapons, but we were able to look at some really good shield play. So good comms and teamwork. So overall, really good series.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're new to the league, it's certainly a good time to learn when you watch these top teams square away. And if you do want to be new to the league, you can always head on over to vrmasterleague.com/onward, where you'll find all your links to the Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Discord, where you can sign up to be a reservist and then eventually create your own team. Compete in the VRML. It is open to any that are interested, and we welcome all new players. In fact, one of our newer teams, Water, is in the top 10 right now. So, it's anyone's game. With that, we'll be signing off. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. My co-casters, Control Flirt Delete, and TFH with the swear word. We'll see you all next week for more VRML action. Actually, later tonight. Go head on over to ML3. Vivian's doing her first cast on Master League 3, and then we also have Valor versus Cats and Hats on Master League 1. So more Onward action just today, really. But
I've got a little bit of a correction there. It's Global Chem and G-Man.
oh, is it
Yeah,
a bit more of a hype match?
a little bit more.
A little bit.
A little more at stake there on the side, but take care, everybody.
Nope, we're
Good
out.
night or good day.